Now it says the 16-year-old's future has been put in jeopardy because of the choices made by Chantel. Oh, this is a deep one. Oh, this gives me chills. Because I was talking about blended families and the rumors I've heard. So let's talk about this. Thomas, the dad, is saying, TH, the 16-year-old's future has been put in jeopardy because of the choices made by Chantel. Wow. Address the placement of this 16-year-old child. So he's been released from custody. I don't know what's going to happen with him. I'm wondering what's going to happen with him. The 16-year-old's future has been put in jeopardy because of the choices made by the respondent. I think he is saying that because of these rumors we will hear about potentially what was the setup on the cruise. The Daily Mail has now learned that onboard security footage captured doomed Anna's final steps as she headed back to her room. Look at this. She was sharing the cabin with her 14-year-old brother and her 16-year-old stepbrother. He's at issue here. This is TH. With the two boys sleeping in bunk beds and Anna in her own bed, according to a well-placed source. Now here's the actual stepbrother. He looks a lot taller in this photo than other photos, and of course they've done a great job blurring out everything here, his awards and such. And here's more photos of Thomas Hudson. And now, finally, we have another 4-pager. This was filed just yesterday, November 18th, 2025 at 10:36 p.m. We're simply preventing the child from his attempt to jump out of the car as he wanted to stay in Hernando County so as to be with his girlfriend. Oh my goodness. Chantel said, it is true there is an open investigation regarding the death of the biological daughter of the stepfather, and TH is a suspect regarding this death, which occurred recently on a cruise ship. So she admits, yeah, TH is the suspect regarding Anna's death. She calls him that suspect. So now he's not a person of interest. She calls her own son a suspect. So they're trying to keep TH away from the youngest child and ensure the remaining safety of the child of basically Anna's bio brother. Whew. The father, so this is Thomas, is believed to have hired counsel for the minor child, TH, due to the alleged incident involving TH and the death of Anna. The 16-year-old, will he be arrested? Will he be tried as an adult? What's going to happen? Alrighty, let's get through these 3 documents I just received from Brevard County down in Florida, the case of Chantel Hudson. Chantel Hudson is the stepmother of Anna Kepner. Anna Kepner, sadly, was the 18-year-old girl who lost her life. It's looking like a homicide. It's looking like her stepbrother is the culprit from the latest documents we've been reading. Well, this morning, today is Wednesday, November 19th, and I just received these documents straight from the court. They are regarding the former marriage of Thomas Hudson. That's Chantel Hudson's ex-husband. So the first one is 4 pages. I've barely skimmed these, so we're kind of learning this together. But this case is impacting Anna Kepner's case because, as we read yesterday, Anna Kepner's stepmom basically is pleading the fifth so she won't incriminate herself nor her child in the case of Anna Kepner, whom the FBI, this boy, I won't say his name, the FBI is considering creating a case against him for basically Anna's homicide. So all of this divorce, custody, all of this other Chantel Thomas case has an impact upon Anna's case because Chantel basically took the fifth. She doesn't want to incriminate herself nor her child. So an upcoming hearing that was set for December 17th in this previous custody, emergency relief case, or what have you, that was being continued. Okay, so I'll link to all these documents below. But the first document is 4 pages. It says, in the former marriage of Thomas, he's the petitioner, Chantel is the respondent. Now, I'm put these in order of filing date. This was filed November 17th at 1:54 p.m. It says emergency motion for temporary relief. Comes now the petitioner in the above-styled cause, Thomas Hudson, by and through his undersigned attorney. He moves this honorable court for temporary relief on an emergency basis, and as grounds, therefore, does state. So, Thomas is saying there are two remaining minor children that are subject to the action to wit. TH, his date of birth is, they don't give us the month and day, they give us the year 2009. That makes this young man 16 years old. He must have already had his birthday this year. I heard he is 16 years old. This TH kid is the focus of the crime. That's all I will say until I see actual documentation or an arrest affidavit or something about TH. And then there's BH. Now, his date of birth, or her, that might be the girl, because as I understand it, there are 3 children Chantel has. One child, the oldest, is not a minor. Allegedly, he lives with his dad. Allegedly, he didn't even go on the cruise. Now, that hasn't been confirmed. Those are just rumors. Then there's TH, the 16-year-old who is at the center of all this brouhaha. Then there's BH, who might be a girl, if I'm not mistaken, birth year 2016. So that makes her only, 9 years old? Okay. Now, the second point does say the oldest child of the parties reached age 18 while in the care of the petitioner. Okay, so the oldest child does live with his dad. I've seen a photo of him. He's 18. He's with his dad. So those rumors are proving to be true. And I was just thinking last night, I was like, boy, doesn't that oldest child, isn't he grateful he wasn't on this cruise, if those rumors are truly true. The adult child of the parties alleged a violent altercation between himself, the mother, and her paramour. Oh, that led to him residing with the petitioner. So we are learning more. Yeah, it's all coming together now. Now, they keep calling Christopher Kepner, who is Anna's father, biological father, and he is also the current husband of Chantel Hudson, or Chantel Kepner. I've seen her go by both names. It confused me when they keep calling Christopher paramour in legal documents. That means, as we read in the legal documents last night, paramour usually means, oh, that's just the side piece. That's just, my wife's boyfriend. So I don't know why he's being called paramour. That confused me. I was thinking, are they not really married, Chantel and Christopher? But they are really married. I found their marriage license. So I don't know why. I don't know if it's a diss, but he keeps calling, or whatever lawyer wrote this, keeps calling Chris Kepner Chantel's paramour instead of her husband. Maybe did the connection start with an affair? I don't know. Anyway, this adult child, the boy, I'm just going to call him A. I won't, even though he is an adult, I don't know. He's only, I think 18. I'm not sure. I could be wrong there. I'll just keep his name out of it. He's an adult. I could say his name, but I'll call him A. So there was a violent altercation between A, Chantel, and Chris Kepner, according to this, that led A to go reside with his dad, Thomas. Now, people in the Facebook groups, I've been in this great one, I'll link to them below, they have pulled up some kind of domestic older case with Chris Kepner. It's the correct Chris Kepner or what, but I did see that in passing. Now it says the party's 16-year-old child has been residing with the respondent. So now they're talking about this 16-year-old TH. He's been residing with Chantel, Anna's stepmom. The respondent has denied the petitioner's time sharing with the remaining minor children. So this is Thomas saying that Chantel has denied his time that he's supposed to share with his remaining minor children. It says Chantel took the remaining minor children on a cruise with a stepchild of her paramour. So they're getting into it. Chantel, instead of giving Thomas the time that he was allowed with his minor children after this divorce, and I'll have to verify their divorce date, instead Chantel took these remaining minor children on a cruise with Anna, who's the stepchild of her paramour. The 16-year-old child is now a suspect in the death of the stepchild during the cruise. Wow. Whew. While released from custody, the 16-year-old child is residing with a third party. Okay, so now we know Anna's stepbrother was in custody at some point. We don't know where. This verifies all the cruise participants, passengers who said they saw, some people say they saw one blonde boy, child, whatever, being led away in handcuffs. Other people say they might have seen more than one boy led away in handcuffs. But this is letting us know that that 16-year-old child has been released from custody. I'll just call him TH. TH is staying somewhere with a third party. Now it says the parties, here we are, we can verify their divorce date. The parties were granted a final judgment of dissolution of marriage on February 21st, 2023 in Lee County, Florida, despite the parties residing during their marriage in Hernando County. Okay, so the parties were granted their judgment, their dissolution of marriage. So these are the Hudsons, Thomas and Chantel. They got divorced February 21st, 2023 in Lee County, Florida. Okay, despite the fact that they lived during their marriage in Hernando County. Well, I'd have to look up the rules for that. Why did they get the divorce? Why was it granted? Did everyone agree? You know, what were the stipulations? Why were they granted a divorce in Lee County if they lived in Hernando County during their marriage? But had Chantel moved to Lee County? Did anyone move to Lee County? I don't know the significance of that. And number 10, an order ratifying joint stipulation to modify parenting time was entered on April 10th, 2024 in Lee County, Florida. Okay, an order ratifying joint stipulation to modify parenting time. So that's an agreement. Okay, how are we going to share custody? Modify that parenting time through the courts. It was an order ratifying this joint stipulation April 10th, 2024. Okay, that's more than a year after their divorce. Okay, the joint stipulation to modify parenting time was made in order of the court. Cool. The petitioner was ordered to have parenting time with the children. So that's cool. Thomas was ordered to have parenting time with his children. Now it says Chantel is denying the petitioner parenting time with the two youngest children and has denied his ordered parenting time since her relocation. Okay, she relocated, I believe she lives in Titusville, and Thomas is fighting to say, Chantel has denied me time with my two youngest children. Basically, she's going against the court order according to him. She's moved on. You know, she's with this dude. This dude had an altercation with Thomas is saying, my oldest son. He got into it with Chantel and with Chris Kepner over there, and that's why lives with me. And now Thomas is saying Chantel is willfully violating the orders of the court. That's not good. No one should keep a child from their bio parent as long as that bio parent is safe and not putting them in a harmful situation. I agree whether, father, mother, they should be able to see their own children as ordered by the court as long as that child is not in danger. It says Chantel is continuing to alienate the two youngest children from their dad, Thomas. Ugh, that's horrible. It says the parties' agreement regarding relocation was supposed to be reviewed at the end of the 2024 through 2025 school year. Yeah, when you want to relocate and you have children, you do have to come together. Everyone has to agree, okay, how is this going to change visitation? And if you can work it out amongst yourselves without getting the courts involved, that's always a good thing. Now it says the 16-year-old's future has been put in jeopardy because of the choices made by Chantel. Oh, this is a deep one. Oh, this gives me chills. Because I was talking about blended families and the rumors I've heard. So let's talk about this. Thomas, the dad, is saying, TH, the 16-year-old's future has been put in jeopardy because of the choices made by Chantel. Wow. Thomas is saying he has not been allowed input into the children's lives, and his lack of involvement has negatively impacted the children. That could be so true, if what he's saying is true. We have to keep reading. We always know it's he said, she said. Oh my goodness. Now it says the youngest child is at immediate risk of abuse, abandonment, or neglect in the care of the respondent, Chantel. Now, Thomas has retained the undersigned attorney and is duly indebted to the same for reasonable fees and costs, and with respect, this is what Thomas is asking the court to enter an order placing the youngest child in the care of him, Thomas. He wants that youngest daughter, I do believe she's a daughter, address the placement of this 16-year-old child. So he's been released from custody. I don't know what's going to happen with him. I'm wondering what's going to happen with him. As of this filming, I don't know Anna's cause of death, manner of death. I've only heard horrible rumors, which I'll probably get to at the end. Rumors from the same uncle who's been speaking. And so far, what he's been saying is bearing out. So I'm trusting that Martin Donahue guy is really Anna's uncle. Okay, so they need to address the placement of the 16-year-old child who is the alleged potential one who caused Anna's death, awarding the father additional parenting time based upon the denial of parenting time. Yes, if he was kept from his children, yeah, I believe he should have his parenting time. Look what happened when Chantel had them. Okay, this is not to blame her, but let's just talk about it. Requiring that the parties cooperate with appropriate services for the minor child. Yeah, the minor child needs to be taken care of. What'll happen with the 16-year-old? Will he be arrested? Will he go back into custody? Did he literally cause Anna's demise? Thomas wants his attorney's fees paid and costs to be paid by Chantel. That was submitted just recently, November 17th. Wow. Attorney for petitioner out of Brooksville, Scott Thomas Smith, Esquire, notarized in the state of Florida. Let's touch on this really quickly. The 16-year-old's future has been put in jeopardy because of the choices made by the respondent. I think he is saying that because of these rumors we will hear about potentially what was the setup on the cruise. Now, I don't know this to be true, but Chantel and Thomas, I don't know, did they have their own cabin? Did they have that youngest child with them? And as I'm recording and editing, we've got new information, so now we know the actual setup. Thanks to the Daily Mail, they're saying surveillance footage has captured Anna Kepner's final hours before she died on this cruise. So they don't have the actual video, at least I haven't seen it, but it says surveillance footage recovered by FBI agents has shed light on what happened to Anna her final hours, revealing she likely died inside the cramped cruise ship cabin she was sharing with her younger brother and a stepbrother who is the suspect. We'll get to that point coming up in these documents. So the 18-year-old cheerleader, we know she was found wrapped in a blanket stuffed under the bed, and this says the Daily Mail has now learned that onboard security footage captured doomed Anna's final steps as she headed back to her room on the evening of November 6th, after complaining during dinner that she felt unwell. Look at this. She was sharing the cabin with her 14-year-old brother, I'm assuming that's her biological brother, and her 16-year-old stepbrother. He's at issue here. This is TH. With the two boys sleeping in bunk beds and Anna in her own bed, according to a well-placed source. So the two boys were in some kind of bunk beds. I don't know about Carnival Cruises. I guess they have bunk beds. Anna was in her own bed. The boys headed back to the room later that evening, but the younger brother changed his clothes and went out again to take snapshots of the huge $800 million ship to post on social media. And I have seen the younger brother's photos that he took. So this does bear out. I don't remember a nighttime photo though, but I remember seeing Anna's younger brother's photos just on the ocean. When he got back, he noticed Anna wasn't in bed, but presumed she was staying up late with the grown-ups and went to sleep, according to the source. This makes sense. People were assuming that everyone was sharing a room together. They thought there were 5 people in this family all cramped into a cabin.
And so people were asking, well, why wouldn't Anna's dad and stepmom check on her if they were in the same room and she went off and she didn't feel well? But it says it wasn't until the next day when the brother and stepbrother headed to breakfast that the family realized Anna basically was missing. So that makes more sense how the younger brother would just assume, oh, Anna's off hanging out with the grown-ups. She's 18. She can hang out later. Now here's the actual stepbrother. He looks a lot taller in this photo than other photos, and of course they've done a great job blurring out everything here, his awards and such. So he's taller than Anna by like a full head, as you can see here. We've seen other photos when he's a lot younger, and so we hadn't seen this photo. Anna went on the cruise with him. Now it says Chris Kepner, her dad, began searching the horizon for his daughter. It's believed that a medical emergency was announced over the PA system. Sources say that prompted Chris, the dad, to race to his daughter's cabin, where he walked inside to find a cleaning crew who had just discovered her dead body crammed under her bed. So that's why we have the rumors saying, okay, we know the cleaning crew found her, but then other people were saying her family found her. Looks like Chris had just found her right when the cleaning crew found her, and he heard that medical emergency. Wow, so we'll go over all these other explosive court filings they're talking about, and you'll actually see me put them on the screen. These emergency motions, everything Thomas is accusing his ex-wife Chantel of doing, putting his son's future in jeopardy and keeping the minor kids away from him. All of this we've just gone over. We'll go over it more. So Thomas wants immediate custody of their other minor children, the 9-year-old daughter, like we've spoken about, and it goes into Anna's history a little bit growing up. Oh, so sad. They're talking about Anna's former stepmother, Tabitha Kepner. There's a lot of controversy here. I could go on, but I think I'm going to just kind of stop this here, and we'll finish going through these court documents that the Daily Mail is responding to. Thus far, the FBI has refused to say how Anna died or whether basically it was murder, but we'll go over these rumors in the end. And here's more photos of Thomas Hudson. And indeed, we talked about the 9-year-old daughter. Very, very sad. Indeed, sad. Let's keep going.
Rumors, now big rumor alert, this has not been verified. Allegedly, Anna was in the cabin with potentially 2 of her step-siblings. Allegedly, she wasn't feeling well. We've heard from the Daily Mail, sources say, wasn't feeling well. November 6th, that would have been a Thursday night. Went to her cabin to go back, to relax or whatever. Now, rumors are claiming at some point all 3 children, and I'm calling Anna a child, I know she was 18, but all 3 children may have been ready to switch out of their clothes to go swimming or something that night. One child left the room, allegedly, leaving Anna and this 16-year-old TH alone. And that might have been when things went horribly wrong. And so that opens up an entire conversation about blended families. Was there indeed violence in this family on the Kepner side in terms of Chris, as Thomas Hudson is alleging, as the court records bear out previous domestic cases for Chris Kepner? What was the situation? And you put a blended family together, a blended family with males and females, teenagers in essence, have they only known each other just like a year? They just got married a year ago. Is it appropriate to put those children together in their own cabin? Especially as Thomas Hudson is alleging that Chantel has allegedly been keeping his own children from him, denying him the children, going against the court order, and instead of taking, the children, Chantel's children, here, go stay with your dad while I go on a cruise with my new husband. Instead of doing that, he's saying she endangered that 16-year-old by putting him in the room, in essence, with Anna. He doesn't get into those details. These are just the details I've heard, which I have to confirm. What do? You're on a cruise, you want to be with your husband. Did they have the youngest child with them? Did they have all the children in another room? Like, we don't know. We'll see. Let's move on to this next filing. This is a 3-pager filed November 17th, 2025 at 4:39 p.m., so just a few hours after the one I just read, same day. Thomas Hudson, in this former marriage, Thomas Hudson is the petitioner. Chantel Hudson is the respondent again. It's an emergency motion for continuance of hearing on petitioner's motion for contempt and enforcement. Now, this is the one that we had gone over yesterday that really showed us, whoa, okay, the rumors we've been hearing are true. It's saying Chantel wanted to continue this hearing that was upcoming in this case with her ex-husband. It was scheduled originally for December 17th, 2025 at 2:30 p.m., but she wants to reschedule it because an extremely sensitive and severe circumstance has arisen wherein the respondent mother will not be able to testify at the hearing at this time. Currently, there's an investigation being conducted by the FBI arising out of the sudden death of 18-year-old Anna Kepner, who was found deceased November 9th, 2025. But that's wrong. Her date of death was November 7th, 2025 at 11:17 a.m. So I don't know why they have that wrong date. They do explain Anna Kepner, the deceased, is the daughter of Chantel's paramour, they call Chris Kepner, and it says that basically Chantel and the minor children of this instant action, this, after divorce action here, were all on the cruise ship together. Only the minor children, not that oldest child, the A boy who lives with his dad, Thomas. This was the clincher. Chantel has been advised through discussions with FBI investigators and her attorneys that a criminal case may be initiated against one of the minor children of this instant action. And basically, she invoked her right, I just call it pleading the fifth. It's very similar to pleading the fifth. She doesn't want to incriminate herself nor her child, so she can't be compelled to testify in this upcoming action. So who knows when that will be rescheduled to. And now, finally, we have another 4-pager. This was filed just yesterday, November 18th, 2025 at 10:36 p.m. Well, they're burning the midnight oil, these lawyers. So in the case of Thomas Hudson and Chantel, it's the mother's response to the father's emergency motion for temporary relief. So comes now Chantel. She's filing her response to the dad, filed with the court. She does say, yes, there are in fact 2 minor children of the parties, to wit, there's TH, a male child born in 2009. So yes, TH is the 16-year-old. And I was right, BH is the female child born in 2016. So she's only 9. Chantel does say the third and eldest child of the parties has reached the age 18. So this oldest A, little boy, 18-year-old boy, he's 18. However, the father came and removed that child from the mother's care without her consent, even after the father signed and agreed to a modification of the parenting plan of the parties to allow the mother to relocate with all 3 then minor children to Brevard County. So she's saying, Thomas is over there saying, this 18-year-old son lives with me. Chantel is saying, look, Thomas came and, she sounds like forcefully removed the kid without the mother's consent, even after he signed and agreed to a modification of the parenting plan to let all 3 kids who were then minors relocate to Brevard County with Chantel. In fact, the father allowed the eldest child of the parties to reside with the child's teenaged girlfriend. Okay, Chantel is saying Thomas let this oldest A child live with his teenage girlfriend. The father hindered the mother's ability to see the eldest child, claiming that the eldest child did not want to see her, and after he already signed an agreement to allow the mother to relocate with all 3 then minor children to Brevard County. Okay, by now this boy is 18. He can decide, the court can listen to him to say, who do you want to live with? So it's kind of like a he said, she said at this point. The father's like, the mother's keeping the kids away from me. And the mother's like, the father is hindering the mother's ability to see my oldest child, claiming he doesn't want to see you. I hate when this happens. I hate when the children can be used as pawns, but the 18-year-old can, the court should take into consideration what that 18-year-old wants to do, where he wants to live. And Chantel continues, there was no violent altercation between the mother and the eldest child of the parties as reference. In fact, the father attempted to file a petition for protection against domestic violence against the mother, claiming that the mother tried to hit the eldest child of the parties, who's now an adult, while in the vehicle. But the court denied said petition, as the mother and stepfather were simply preventing the child from his attempt to jump out of the car, as he wanted to stay in Hernando County so as to be with his girlfriend. Oh my goodness. This is getting so horrible. Okay, Chantel is saying, look, there wasn't this big brouhaha Thomas is claiming between, my son A and my current husband, Chris Kepner. There wasn't all this. He tried to get some protection order against domestic violence against the mother, saying, look, Chantel tried to hit the oldest child A, but the court denied that petition, so the mother and stepfather, Chantel and Chris, allegedly were preventing this child from trying to jump out the car, as he wanted to stay in Hernando County so as to be with his girlfriend. Ugh, you want to know the truth, like, which is it? What is it actually? Who actually did what? It shouldn't have to be this dramatic. Okay, she goes on to say the mother has not at any time denied the father time sharing per the modified parenting plan, except on the date the mother initially relocated by agreement of the parties to Brevard County. The father has not come nor made any arrangements to come for time sharing with the two remaining minor children. However, the two remaining minor children have each told their father they do not wish to visit with him due to issues of domestic violence on the petitioner father's part. Oh, this is horrible. So we have a lot of he said, she said. We have the mom saying, look, the two kids don't want to come see you. And she's saying, look, Thomas, you haven't even attempted or made arrangements to come spend your time with these kids. So I've seen it either way. I've seen, cases of mothers trying to keep their kids away from their dad just to hurt him, or they're trying to keep their kids away from the dad to protect them. So what truly is it here? We just have he said, she said. That's sad. And she's saying, look, these two minor children don't want to be with you anyway, Thomas, because of domestic violence. Now, here we go. Currently, there's an open DCF investigation against the dad due to issues of physical domestic violence by the dad against the two youngest children. Oh my goodness, this is horrible. If this is really true, forgive me for thinking all the other stuff when it's always this way. You hear the prosecution side sometimes and you're like, oh, that's horrible. How could it be? Then when it comes time for the defense to put on his case or her case, then you're like, whoa, I didn't know all that. So you have a lot of he said, she said here. If there really was violence by the dad, by Thomas, against the two youngest children, I hope the kids are all protected. Chantel said, it is true there is an open investigation regarding the death of the biological daughter of the stepfather, and TH is a suspect regarding this death, which occurred recently on a cruise ship. So she admits, yeah, TH is the suspect regarding Anna's death. With regard to the minor child, TH, he's the suspect. She calls him that suspect. So now he's not a person of interest. She calls her own son a suspect. With regard to the minor child, TH, the parties signed a stipulation on or about November 17, 2025, that the minor child, TH, he's going to live with a relative of the mother. This was to ensure the safety of the youngest child of the parties as well as the safety of the remaining child of the stepfather. So they're trying to keep TH away from the youngest child and ensure the remaining safety of the child of basically Anna's bio brother. The father, so this is Thomas, is believed to have hired counsel for the minor child, TH, due to the alleged incident involving TH and the death of Anna. Basically. Thus, the father is well aware and has participated in the immediate safety concerns, and he, in fact, agreed to the placement of TH with the mother's relative. Okay. The mother has also providing counseling for the remaining minor child regarding this tragic situation. The father's aware of this. As stated, there's an open FBI investigation involving TH. However, there are no allegations that the mother abused, neglected, or abandoned either of the minor children or that she failed to protect the minor children. The father currently has scheduled a hearing for December with regard to time-sharing issues. The mother seeking to continue that hearing due to the allegations against and the open FBI investigation regarding TH. So she has that hearing, but she wants it continued because TH is being investigated by the FBI for Anna's death. The funeral services for the deceased daughter, Anna, are scheduled for this week. The family's grieving. If DCF thought there was an issue or any issue regarding the mother's ability to appropriately parent the children, they would be required to take action accordingly. No such actions have been taken, nor have they advised her that she is a risk to her children in any way. Again, there's no emergency at this juncture, and the matter, if the father still intends to pursue same, should be set on the court's regular calendar. Yeah, I just want all the children protected. She says it is certainly not in the best interest of TH that any statements regarding the matter that is the subject of the open investigation be discussed at a civil court proceeding. It is not known why the father brings up as part of his emergency hearing that the case was filed in Lee County. Yeah, I don't know that either. The matter of venue has already been addressed by the court in Lee County, and the court in Lee County ordered that the venue of the case be transferred to Brevard County. So, Chantel is requesting that the father's emergency motion for temporary relief be denied. So we will see what happens. We will see updated whatever happens next with this case. My goodness, how tragic and dramatic and back and forth. We don't know who to believe. I hope DCF is doing their due diligence and will little TH, the suspect, he's called a suspect in Anna's killing, the 16-year-old, will he be arrested? Will he be tried as an adult? What's going to happen? This is the horrible rumors I've heard from the uncle that we don't know if this is true. Allegedly, there was SA involved of Anna, that she was beaten so much that the coroner really had to do work just to make her recognizable. It sounds horrific. I really hope that's not true. She was unclothed, allegedly. And I'm thinking a 16-year-old did that to her? It's unfathomable. Psalm 24, 9 through 10. Lift up your heads, you gates. Lift them up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is he, this King of glory? The Lord Almighty. He is the King of glory. Thank you for watching all of this. Stay tuned. The documents, the 3 I've received as of this filming, are below. If I get any more from Florida, I will just add them down there. We pray for Anna to get her justice, and even pray for the perpetrator too. It's just unthinkable when you see these crimes with 16-year-olds, or even up in Cleveland, there was like 10-year-olds. You see them in court accused of horrible things. It's just, what is going on? Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for updates.